Hi there. I just wanted to share with you a little bit about what God has done in me and in our family. We went on sabbatical for the months of April and May, and up until that time, I think um, because of the pandemic, we were running at just a real un a pace that was unsustainable, and finding myself just really tired, lacking real desire to do the work of ministry and losing passion. And so we were able to go to Turkey, and instead of kind of what a typical vacation would be like, we we purposefully made it so that we could intentionally pursue a relationship with God, um, and really connect with one another. And one of the things that we did was we had a formal debrief by using kind of the model of uh, I don't know how to say it right, but it's a French Le Rocher, and it was really helpful that one week that was led by this American couple. We had a chance to kind of debrief and look back on some of the most traumatic, difficult seasons of our ministry here in Romania. And then out of that, then we intentionally spent 8 days in a silent retreat with guided spiritual direction. And from that time, the Lord just encountered Angie and I in dramatic, powerful ways. Um, we He really spoke to us in ways um, that were connected to our identity in Him, calling back to ministry and so many other things. And I think that time of being disconnected completely from connection with other people, with our phones, with just turning off everything, really kind of detoxed us from um, so much of the need that we have, in this time and day and age to be connected to one another, to other things, and be constantly in need of being entertained. If there's a moment where there's dead space, we need to fill that with social media or texting or sending an email or reading a news article or something, and so when we kind of intentionally took that away, um, it opened ourselves up to really receiving Jesus and putting Him first. And so, and then we also just had a lot of fun as a family. We went whitewater rafting. We went and looked at archaeological ruins. We had introvert time, watched movies together, went out to eat at fun restaurants. We just had a lot of, went for walks. Angie and I went for walks, went to the beach, because in Turkey, all tourists were exempt from any lockdown restrictions. We had entire beaches to ourselves, which was amazing. We just enjoyed that time together. And as we're coming back, I think some of the things that I'm implementing, and I'm realizing, there's a book by a man named John Mark Comer. He's a pastor in Portland, and the name of the book is called Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, and it's putting words to some of the things that we experienced, and giving us real handles of how to implement a Sabbath, like a sabbatical lifestyle, living wholehearted instead of kind of plugging back into regular life and re-burning ourselves out. And so I think the first thing is to slow down. Um, I wasn't aware of how I was kind of pushing past the natural limits that God had given me. I mean, all of us have limits. We all have 24 hours, 7 days a week. That's one limit. We all have intellectual capabilities, some greater than others, communication, education. I mean, there's always going to be somebody who has more than we do in some areas or another. and embracing those things that God has given us, and not trying to run at a pace that is unsustainable long term. Um, one of the blessings and curses of technology that I'm learning, and also from this book that we read, was that we are more connected, more able to, and more efficient than we ever have been because of our smartphones, because of the internet. And what that is doing to us is that we're working harder, we're working faster, we're speeding ourselves up. We have more to do than we ever before. Um, and so, just embracing those limits. I think about Jesus. I don't see him as this burned out, hurried person that just is constantly saying, "Man, I got so much to do, and I don't know. I have so little time. I just wish that we had more time." He wasn't in a hurry. He was at the exact pace that God had scheduled for him. When others were saying, "Hey, we're all looking for you. Where, Mark 1, where were you?" He's like, I'm spending time with my Father, and we're moving on because there's a purpose that God has for me to fulfill, and it's not found here." When Lazarus was sick and he got word and people were saying, "No, you need to come right now." He's just like, "No, I'm not, that's not what the Father's doing right now. So I'm staying here." And then he got to have this dramatic miracle of raising Lazarus from the dead. And so I think that slowing down is a huge aspect. And the lie is that we can't change the world on 40 hours a week. I think that's a lie. All of this is not, there's scientific studies that are showing that any more than 50 hours a week and our productivity decreases. I just was reading a BBC article this week about, in Europe, they're doing all these different studies in the public sector about reducing a work week to 4 days. And the studies are coming back that productivity is still the same, and people are coming back feeling rejuvenated and having more energy and feeling more alive and less burned out and less worn out. And I think the second thing would be just to simplify my life according to the practices of Jesus. Jesus said that he had an easy yoke, and that we should carry that yoke. And it's not the way to wholehearted living is not by stopping everything or cutting a bunch of stuff out. It's about doing the things that are going to be life-giving and transformative. And so finding those rhythms, finding those practices, finding those anchor points for our life that Jesus engaged in. One thing I think for our family is Sabbath, having a 24-hour period where we just stop, we rest, we delight in God and one another, and trust Him that He is going to fulfill everything that in His time, in His way, and He's working when we're not. The work is not dependent on us, but it's His work. Is really a huge thing, just simplifying our life around those practices. And then thirdly, I think living wholehearted or living from a center of abiding. And I think that, for many years, I assumed that if you're on the mission field, you're on the front lines for Jesus, then you live from a center of abiding. You understand how to connect with Christ, how to self-feed on Him. But what I found more and more is that that's just not the case. Like, people just don't know how to do that. And they're living from a place where they're doing work for Him, but not really connecting with Jesus on a day-to-day basis. And so a couple of real practical ways that I found in coming back to Romania in the last month or so. One of the things, and they're simple things, but I found they've been dramatic in their results in my walk with Christ, and how my life is being changed by these simple, small things. Um, in this book, Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, he talks about 90% of people in the Western world sleep with their phone beside them, and it's the last thing that they check, and it's the first thing that they check in the morning. And I used to do that all the time. So I would, first thing I wake up, check my messages, check what's on the BBC, news articles, emails, and I would take my phone in with me to my prayer closet, listen to music, and the whole time I'd be thinking about all the things that I had to do. My mind would be wandering all over the place. And what I started doing is, just the first thing that I do is, you got to go to the bathroom, and then you go right to my prayer closet. Don't check my phone. And what I'm finding is that I'm finding joy in encountering God through His Word, finding that my attention is on Him, and throughout the rest of the day, that that lingering joy in His presence is going with me as well. So, and then I can give myself to all the other things, but putting Him first. And just a simple thing of not checking my phone first thing when I wake up has been revolutionary in my walk with Him. And then second would be to just taking simple moments, these non-moments that, like, you're standing in line. Romania, as we have long lineups, red tape everywhere. When I'm driving somebody and I'm waiting for them, or going to the bathroom or whatever, these are the moments where you're just kind of like, there's nothing to give your attention to. Instead of, checking social media, or making a to-do list or doing something like that, I just turn my attention to Jesus, and I just reconnect with Him, and I just say, God, I surrender to You. I just surrender to You, and I wholeheartedly give my heart to You today. Finding these little moments throughout the day to reconnect with Him, and then finding that in that moment where there's kind of that boredom, that imitation, just finding Him instead, is a game changer for me. I'm finding my heart tenderized throughout the day, and Jesus becoming just more and more a delight in my heart as well. So anyways, I wanted to just share those things with you, and maybe there's something there for you to implement as well. Bless you.